In the last customer relations video, we talked about how stories are shared by customers and are an important tool when talking about your product or service. Now that we know they are important, how do we get them? I'm going to go through some simple exercises to get you better acquainted with how to capture customer stories. We can capture customer stories in a couple of ways, with one of them being a face-to-face conversation. Let's look at an example of a typical in-person meeting. Some of the important things you need to think about in preparing for a customer interview is to do your homework. It's important that you educate yourself on the customer and their business and decide what the goal of the in-person interview is going to be. Are you looking for a testimonial or a story? Have your questions prepared in advance and always have a notebook ready for notes. The in-person interview is slightly different than an interview over the phone. There are very similar things you need to think about, but there are also a couple of additions. Always have the release forms ready to sign. Wear proper attire. The customer will respect you more depending on your appearance. Sit properly and focus all of your attention to the customer. Make sure all your phones are off and gum is put in the trash. Converse with them beforehand to get them comfortable before going on camera. Hi, Sarah Nixon. I'm Troy Marcyes from Intuit. Nice to meet you.
How's it going?
Good, thank you. I want to thank you for your time and meeting with me today. And start out the same way as you would the phone interview and ask questions based around them and their business. By them talking about something they're passionate about, they will open up more during the interview. So tell me a little bit more about your business.
We're park and security consultants, and we're a background screening company based
Before you start, always remind them to reiterate the question in their answer. This will help with editing. What are some of the goals for the future of your business?
We really want to grow the business, and to do that, we need to keep customers coming through the door. I'd say that's the biggest thing.
Let me stop you right there. I know that's a great answer, and I just want you to remember to reiterate the question in your answer.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Awesome. So same question. What are some of the goals for the future of your business?
So when I think about what the goals are for the future of my business, I'd say it's definitely keeping the new customer pipeline healthy and getting more customers through the door.
Remember to affirm their answers through smiling, making eye contact, and taking notes. This shows you're an active listener. That's great. Listen for key words and phrases that might help divulge additional information that can be useful in creating stories. For example, savings, passion, ease of use, experience. These will lead to additional follow-up questions you might not have prepared for.
We get paid on the spot and the money shows up a lot faster.
Awesome. So you had mentioned that you never miss a sale. Were you missing sales before?
Yeah, we were at a hiring fair not that long ago, and we had a customer come up that didn't have any cash on him, so
don't be afraid to ask them tough questions. One of the other things I'd love to hear is, have you ever had any problems?
Sometimes swiping the card doesn't work with the little dongle. If we can't accept credit cards, our only other option is to send an invoice later.
This helps strengthen a relationship. It shows we care about their opinion and emphasizes how we are constantly trying to make things better. And when the interview is over, don't ever forget to thank them for their time and follow up with them on action items or additional conversations that need to take place. I will follow up with you with the link when the video goes live, and hopefully thousands of people learn about your business.
Thanks.
Well, thank you again for your time, and we'll stay in touch. Now, you're probably asking yourself, what happens if the conversation doesn't produce a good story? And that's going to happen. If the customer is angry about our product or service, be sure to forward it on to the proper contact. If the story doesn't have enough substance, you can still use their information later down the road. At the end of the day, you have a reference, and that's still worth something. By following these simple instructions, you will be able to set yourself up for successful customer interactions. The most important piece of advice I can give you is to practice these methods. Look to your friends. Look to your coworkers. They're always willing to share stories about their product experiences. The power is now in your hands.